pleasure of having Brother Mark speak for us, teach us, praying about stuff with us. So let's give him a warm welcome.
Thank you very much to Ellen and Reverend Deanna. Isn't that wonderful to have music?
Yes.
And beautiful music at that. So guess what? I was inspired when, how many people watched the kids march on Washington? Did you see them? Wasn't that powerful?
Yes.
And there was one of the kids was holding a sign, and it just hit me. You know how you have an epiphany? Reverend Deanna has a song, My Epiphany, right?
Yes.
And I thought, well, maybe I could turn this into a message. And then I thought, oh my gosh, I have to write a book with this title. But I didn't write the book yet, but I'm gonna do the message tonight and see how it goes. You can let me know. Well, the topic title is called Reverse Affirmations. What would be a 2-word title for the reverse of you starting an affirmation?
Confusing me.
Okay, watch. When we normally say affirmations, all of us know this.
Yes.
We normally have a 2-word statement in the beginning, right?
Yes.
What is it?
I am.
So what would be the reverse?
Am I?
Yes. And so this one kid was holding a sign, huge sign, and it said, "Am I?"
Oh, wow.
And then, with all the work we've been doing and what we've been speaking about on Wednesdays and Sundays, it came to me, that's the reverse of the beginning of an affirmation. I am. And just to stick to the basics of our teaching, we talk all the time about how our mind is a mold, right? And we can only accept as much good as we're able to hold, right, and facilitate. So I thought, what an incredible book title to call it. We'll just call it Reverse Affirmations.
Yes.
And it's the actual exact opposite of I am I?
Sounds cool to me.
So I tied it into one quick reading, which I'll do from Science of Mind. And then I want us to just spend a few minutes tonight. We're going to practice reverse affirmations. Because a lot of times, and I've done this, we've done this recently. There was this one talk, do you remember when we had the lit makeup mirror that went around the room? And everybody had an affirmation? And it dawned on me that if we spend equal time practicing am I as I am, then our I ams are going to become more powerful. And even the littlest shifts in the am I can make what I believe miraculous changes in the I ams. Because sometimes if you're not really quite ready to say, I am abundant, let's just say that together. I am abundant.
I am abundant.
But now say, am I?
Am I?
Am I?
Right. And so as soon as I do this reading, we're going to ponder, am I? Because then, whether we really know all the things that are coming to us when we say, am I? That's our lesson. That's exactly what we need to know, that little shift we may be able to make in that moment to really make our I am much more powerful. And you remember a few months, it was a couple months ago, we talked about turning down the personality dial and turning up the divinity dial. This is that same idea, where if we spend a little bit of time, and you can all do this at home too. You can do it in your journaling, you can do it in your private meditations, you can do it in whatever you've created at your home for your sanctuary. To just add a little am I in there. It's another thing that just came out of the blue because one of the kids marching on Washington had this humongous sign, and it said, am I? And I thought, I got the, goosebumps. Some people call them God bumps or whatever it is. I just was like shaken that it could be so simple, yet so profound. That could be another whole practice for us who study science of mind, to say, am I? Because you know what? It's beautiful to practice the affirmations, I am. And we'll go through the whole list. And at the same time, the real shifts, the real transformation, the real revelation, the real healing, I think can happen quite easily when we just take in those words, am I? We could do it even when you're driving, if you have a little bit of a commute. Am I? Let's just say, I am healthy.
I am healthy.
Am I? Let's
Yes.
say that out loud. Am I? And then it may be able to have you just consider any little place that may require a tad of an adjustment. Am I? Am I? So, am I? Am I really eating as healthy as I could? I hate to say all the time. I don't always. And at the same time, if we ask ourselves an am I question, it may inspire us to make an actual change in our daily living. To say, if I said, am I healthy? Am I whole? Am I complete? Am I perfect? Am I? And then I think that am I, if we leave it in a little bit of void, wow, I think, for me at least, when I do that, Spirit's like, I've been waiting for you to shut the heck up, right? and just ask me a question, or just be in stillness or absolute sacred silence. Am I? And then just those few little things that come. I wouldn't try to do like 10 or 20 things, but if one or two little things come, or 2 or 3 things want to make themselves known, whatever's wanting to make itself known in that moment, it's kind of just like when we went to the silence and the meditation. We don't have to struggle or strive for anything. Whatever is most needed in that moment knows to access us, and it's only waiting for our permission. It's because we're spiritual beings having a human experience, we have free will. And so Spirit's always waiting to communicate with us. And so let me do the brief reading and then we'll practice. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
And if we love it, maybe we'll do a part 2. I know next week Reverend Deanna is going to speak on Wednesday. And Reverend Deanna is speaking this Sunday, in case you can join us. 9:30 meditation, 10 a.m. service. The answer to having our affirmations have power, part of the answer lies in one of our favorite texts, right? The Science of Mind. It's called, the chapter's Faith. It's page 159, and it's called Vitalizing Faith. In order to have faith, we must have a conviction that all is well. In order to keep faith, we must allow nothing to enter our thought which will weaken this conviction. Faith is built up from belief, acceptance, and trust. You want me to take that and break it down one more time? Okay, be with me on this. In order to have faith, we must have a conviction that all is well. In order to keep faith, we must allow nothing to enter our thought which will weaken this conviction. Faith is built up from belief, acceptance, and trust. And for Lola, the Agape community would always say every day, life is good.
Life is good.
I don't remember.
All the
All the
time.
time.
All the time.
Life is good.
All the time.
All the time. One more time. Life is good.
All the time.
Yes. Now listen to this on the same page. Our mind must be steady in its conviction that our life is some part of God and that the Spirit is incarnated in us. Affirmations and denials are for the purpose of vitalizing faith, for the purpose of converting thought to a belief in things spiritual. The foundation for correct mental treatment is perfect God, perfect man, and perfect being. Continuing. All sciences are built upon faith principles. All principles are invisible, and all laws accepted on faith. No man has seen God at any time, nor has he seen goodness, truth, or beauty, but who can doubt their existence? Not only must we have complete faith in Spirit, we must have complete confidence in our approach to it. We must not be lukewarm in our conviction. We must know that we know. And so let's practice some of these affirmations. We did them all with I am. We do them a lot. And so I brought actually some of the same ones. And if you're willing, let's just do this and see how it goes. I am love. Let's say that together.
I am love.
Am I? And I'm inviting you just to be still and just let it be. Again, I am love.
I am love.
Am I? Just see what might come to you.
Okay.
Wow. For me, it was like, yeah, you are, except for. It was like, right. It was ready to give me like some examples of, except for, well. So you see, like the except for, well, for me, that could be some work that I have.
Yes.
Right. That could be some work that I have to shift.
Yeah.
To make my I am more powerful, because my am I is already, well, you know, at the, you know, am I?
Wow.
I am joy.
I am joy.
Am I?
Am I?
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm just asking you, I'm just asking you to be mindful of any little things that might come, and just do, you know, when you're at home and you do this, I am joy.
I am joy.
Am I? Well, the thing is you also may get examples of where you are joy, to reaffirm, right? Where you are joy, and you also may have just a little twinge of that little thing you can tweak or practice. Just go, wow, how much more joy can I handle? Because if our thoughts are things, and our words have power, which we know they do. We know that over our double doorways it says,
Change your thinking, change your life.
change your thinking, change your life. We know that we're an unlimited mold. And at the same time, how powerful is if our am-Is, I'm inviting you to consider having your am-Is build the consciousness of a greater, bigger mold, so your I ams are way more real. They're like, whoa, that is a real, when I say I am joy, if I've spent some time considering in the am I am joy is much more powerful. And remember that principle in science of mind, mental equivalence? So we're building our mental equivalence. Let's do some more. I am perfection.
I am perfection.
Am I?
Am I?
Yeah,
I am divine.
I am divine.
Am I? I am complete.
I am complete.
Am I? I am radiant.
I am radiant.
I am intelligence.
I am intelligence.
Am I? I am wellness.
I am wellness.
Am I? I am infinite.
I am infinite.
Now spend a moment with this one. Let's say it again. I am infinite.
I am infinite.
Am I? I am eternal.
Eternal.
Am I? I am magnificent.
I am magnificent.
Am I? I am guided.
I'm guided.
I am good.
I am good.
I am merciful.
I am merciful.
I am kind.
I am kind.
I am considerate.
I am considerate.
Am I? I am passionate. I am light-filled. I am peaceful. Am I? I am gentle.
Gentle.
Am I?
Am
I am considerate.
I? Considerate.
I am creative. I am healthy.
Healthy.
Am I? I am abundant. I am energetic. I am bountiful. I am effervescent. I am majestic. I am beautiful. I am magical. Am I?
Yeah.
I am marvelous.
Marvelous.
I am inspired.
I am inspired.
I am forgiving. That's a big one. I am forgiving. Am I? Pause, reflect. I am powerful. I am compassionate. Am I? I am intuitive. I am wonderful. I'm healthy. I am that I am. Am I? Yeah. I am wise. I am playful. I am joyous. I am artistic. I am vibrant. I am supported. I'm confident. I am whole. Think about that one. I am whole. Am I? I am free. I am perceptive. Oh, I am free. Am I? I am perceptive. I am willing. I am gifted. I am complete. I am generous. So you see that we can practice this, right? I think we should practice this. Do you like the idea of it?
Yeah.
So we can use, I guess, to sort of wrap up where the idea is think about this. If we're religious scientists, right, and our thoughts are creative, and we have this principle of mental equivalence, and we know that there's a way for us to turn down the personality dial and turn up the divinity dial, we will have greater results or manifestations or revelations or transformation or healing in our life by each little minute increase that we create for our good. And the power of that, I think, is very similar to the Richter scale that we might know of for the earth, earth shaking, earth quaking. You know how many more times each magnitude has, right? When it's 1 point up or a whole point up, it's a tremendous amount of more energy and more power. And I believe that same thing is so for our spiritual power and our spiritual transformation and our spiritual energy. For what we really are is energy balls. Do you remember a guy from Agape named T-Lock that came and did exposures there where his gift as a child was he could blow on you and you could see your energy. Oh, that was amazing. And you're just a flame ball of energy. It is true. And so the consideration that you may give time to the MIs, in my belief, is going to make your IMs so much more powerful. You hear me?
Yes.
Are you feeling it?
Yes.
All right, let's see if I have a reading to close for tonight. From the bottom, I'm just going to stay on one page, 159, Vitalizing Faith, Science and Mind. Pure faith is a spiritual conviction. It is the acquiescence of the mind, the embodiment of an idea, the acceptance of a concept. If we believe that the Spirit incarnated in us can demonstrate, shall we be disturbed at what appears to contradict this? We shall often need to know that the truth which we announce is superior to the condition we are to change. In other words, if we're speaking from the standpoint of the Spirit, then there can be no opposition to it. And so it is.
So it is.
All right, shall we do a song? And we do a tithing a little bit different tonight. We just have a bowl, so an hour later, you could do it later if you want. We're going to just make sure our center is always supported to do what it needs to do, to have what it needs to have, to give, more importantly, to the community what it needs to give. So let's do our song.
Okay.
And we'll close with a closing treat, as we always do. Are you drumming tonight? No drumming?
Thank you, Sam.
Beautiful.
Earth and water, fire and air, life speaks to you.
We take specifics if you wish to throw one out, we'll include it. Anybody?
My mom to feel better.
Okay.
Oh. The training of my new job.
Of your new job or your dog?
My new job. J-O-B.
J-O-B.
Okay.
Deanna, remind me your mom's first name?
Joelle.
Joelle Woods, right?
Yes.
Or is it Wood?
Woods.
Plural.
Like going into the woods.
Yeah. Anybody else?
For Becky.
Oh, yes, I already have that. Underline times 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's just turn within. And we exhale out everything that's preceded this moment in time. And we gently inhale in the love and grace of pure intelligence and pure spirit right here and right now. And it's from this place of unity and oneness and wholeness that I speak this word, knowing that everything works together in order and in harmony, even in times where the world may appear chaotic and out of order and greatly disturbed. We know that I know that there's a power and a presence and a love of God that created everything, perfect, whole, and complete, despite appearance. And so I shall not be moved from seeing order and harmony, even in a world full of chaos and despair. And so I call forth healing, love, and light intelligence right here and right now for the 257 or more people who were killed in a military crash. They were leaving Bufarik military base, and it was military families leaving simply to go to another base near the Moroccan border, somewhere near Algeria or the capital of Algiers. And so for these sacred souls, we just send a moment of our light and love intelligence.
Yes.
Knowing that life is eternal, that God is good, that Spirit is in the middle of the middle of the middle of this. Just as the same thing is true and so for all the people who were killed in another chemical attack in Syria at 2 different times. And at least 40, I read today, 42 or more people. And of course, it's not, the people are not being permitted to be viewed and tested so that it can be 100% declared a sarin attack or organophosphate attack. And so we know that where these innocents are, there are 80 to 150,000 people living. And at least recently, over 1,700 civilians have been killed in violence there. And so Where there's this disturbing news, let there be peace that passes human understanding. I call forth now a greater awareness, a greater concept of good. I call forth spirit to make its way known. I call forth peace now and ask you to send with me where we have two or more gathered. And we can activate the same, this intelligence that was in Jesus Christ to have healing that's instantaneously and without question. Let's just send that throughout the world now, wherever there's any thought of violence or despair, any war, any thought even that could be unlike peace, unlike at least neutrality. Let's just disintegrate that. Let's disintegrate any thought that may be negative, or what Father Joe or Brother Joe called earlier a sense of human evil is simply a misguided direction. And it's not the truth with the capital T. But these things that are allowed to manifest, that are made manifest, can have devastating consequence. And so I call forth now, asking you to join me for a greater sense of neutrality where there may be a thought of war or hatred or revenge or even an attack of any kind, because those are happening now at a greater speed with the political climate in our country. And those are actually happening at a higher rate now throughout our country. And so we call forth right here and right now in our prayer, peace, neutrality, love, and joy to replace anything that doesn't match that. And so I call forth now the perfect and right housing situation for Diane, where she is, God is. I call forth for my sister Renee Hart, perfect outcome for her son James in all of his affairs. We know that our beloved Becky, the teacher of our youth and a beautiful singer here, that right where she is, let's just see right here and right now, perfect light, love, intelligence floating in through and as her body temple, her back, knowing that there is balance throughout her body, knowing that anything that has needed to made itself known during this time of stillness and silence is known, and that there's great healing that happens. And so just see that now, as you see Becky in your mind's eye, just see perfect health, wholeness, and healing now as the order of the day. I know that this same truth is true, and so for Deanna's precious mom, Joelle Woods, where she is, God is. The goddess of the Most High created her perfect, whole, and complete, and therefore she is perfect, whole, and complete right here and right now. And anything that doesn't match that slips away and is replaced with this truth that God is at hand as Joelle's source supply, wholeness, health, and vitality and vigor now. The same truth is so for our sister Lola. For her new job training just comes forth with ease and grace. I call forth the perfect people who surround her to just let her know what's really happening there and encourage and inspire her in all ways forevermore. I'm grateful for this. I'm grateful for the time for each of us to become part of a spiritual community in the greater and the larger, knowing that everything that CSL Redlands needed is provided on time every time. I bless our senior minister, Reverend Gary Wines, where he is, God is. I bless our board in the upcoming board meeting. I bless our practitioner corps, and I bless all of us each. Let's just each say our name out loud. And all of our families now are blessed with the love and light intelligence that we are. I'm grateful for this time to know the truth and speak the word. And I walk forth from this place expecting all the good to come forth right here and right now. And I wait for it, for I know there's no waiting in spirit, for that when we say yes, spirit says yes. And together we say yes.
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 And so it is.
And so it is.
Amen.
Yes.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Yes.
Mark, that was fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay. So Derek's going to come up here and join me. We're going to sing a real fun chant that we can all sing this together.
Okay. Yes.
You ready, Derek?
All right.
For this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. For this day, Spirit, thank you for this day. This is
didn't tell me it wasn't fastened.
Okay.